Hello and welcome back to the Essex Senior League Roundup show with me, Sam Gardner. Apologies that there was no show last week. I thought 2 games in the Essex Senior League, not much point making a video, and I wasn't feeling too good last week anyway. So, decided to give it a miss. We're back this week though, full cohort of fixtures, lots of games to get through, midweek games as well. Some fixtures as well for the upcoming weekend, and I'm going to put a little bit of a twist on them, starting this week only. I'm going to be trying to predict every single match in the Essex Senior League. Pray for me because this is absolutely impossible to predict. So without further ado, let's get into it. Firstly, though, we have got a bit of managerial news to bring you coming out of Hackney Wick. Reading the statement here, Hackney Wick FC can confirm that the club has parted ways with head coach Ernest Egan after 4 years in charge. We would like to place on record our sincere thanks to Ernest for his commitment, dedication and hard work during his time with the club. He leaves as the most successful manager in our history, having led Hackney Wick to promotion into the Essex Senior League and delivering our first ever cup victory, achievements that will forever be part of the club's story. The decision has been made by mutual agreement and we part on good terms with nothing but respect for what Ernest has given to Hackney Wick FC. So a change in management there at Hackney Wick and a lot of players departed as well. They did have a game at the weekend at home against Ilford. So we'll be running through that result along with all the others over the next few minutes or so of this roundup. Okay then, let's run through the weekend's results. We'll start on Friday night at Oakside, which was a temporary home for one not only of Buckhurst Hill, and they defeated Basildon United by 2-0. It was a goal in each half for Harry Lusher to secure the 3 points for the informed side. Brilliant result for them, and they only sit outside the playoffs as I record this by 4 points and have 4 games in hand over Ilford in 5th. On to the main bulk of fixtures then, Saturday the 14th of February, Valentine's Day, and we start at Parsloes Park. Eduardo Carvalho gave Athletic Newham the lead against Harwich and Parkeston, but they hit back with a goal in each half from Joe Knight to secure 3 points for Matt Carmichael's side. As mentioned, Hackney Wick have had a bit of a reform in recent weeks with the departure of their manager and several key players. They've had to get a lot of new players in to build almost a completely new squad, and that new, very young squad was put to the test on Saturday against Ilford, where they went down by 2-0. Solomon Afori giving Ilford the lead after 25 minutes, and that win was wrapped up with 7 minutes to go thanks to a strike from Idris Aminu. A solitary second half goal from Billy Jameson gave Halstead Town a 1-0 victory over Holbridge Sports in front of another great crowd at Millbank Stadium of 229. A good win that for Halstead against Holbridge, who've been in pretty decent form themselves as of late. Now, in arguably the result of the day, it was top of the league Little Oakley, who were beaten 2-1 at the Memorial Ground by struggling Sporting Bengal. After a goalless first half, it was Mackay Johnson-Reid that gave Bengal the lead on 54 minutes. That was cancelled out by long-serving Little Oakley defender Rory Harmon, but then with 2 minutes to go, Darnell Fuller scored. I think they described it as a cross which turned into a shot and obviously went into the back of the net to give Sporting Bengal a massive 3 points and put a bit of a dent in Little Oakley's title hopes. I don't think it could be overestimated just how big a result that is. 4 second half goals from Great Wakering Rovers against 9-man Romford gave them a deserved 4-0 victory at Majesbrick Park. Rhian Fowler received a straight red card on 45 minutes and the floodgates then opened in the second half because of it. Sean Gisselson, Max Nandy with a double and Harrison Topless were the goal scorers. Romford also saw Christian Adu Gyamfi sent off late on for a second bookable offence. It was another impressive win for a side struggling at the bottom of the table at Cassons Lane as Saffron Walden Town fell to a 3-2 defeat to West Essex. Jordan Gent slotted in his 6th goal of the season after 5 minutes before an equaliser coming from a set piece which was headed in by Chama Torciello. Sam Deering then restored Walden's lead on 33 minutes with a 25-yard free kick which found the back of the net via the post. But a quick-fire second half double from West Essex, courtesy of Ethan Earnshaw and Reece Simpson, gave them a massive 3-2 win for Trevor Grace's side at Cassons Lane. In the early kick-off in the Essex Senior League, the 2 o'clock kick-off, it finished White Ensign 2, Frenford 2 at Burrows Park. Corey Davison gave the visitors an 11th minute lead before 2 quick fire strikes in the second half from Ralph Harold and Mechak Asuka turned it round for Ensign. But it was another goal from Davidson, I mean where would Frenford be without him this season, to secure a well-earned point on the road. That's it then from the Saturday results. There were 2 results last night as I record this, Tuesday the 17th of February. And we'll start at the Hive where it was another unbelievable result on the road for Sporting Bengal United. 2-0 down to Basildon United and then they came back to win by 5-2. Jack Wilson and Jaden Yamoa gave the hosts a commanding 2-0 lead after 37 minutes. But Bengal hit back with 2 quick goals before the break thanks to Daniel McCulloch and Mackay Johnson-Reid. 2 goals in 2 games for him. And a late surge for Bengal, 3 goals in the final 10 minutes. Darnell Fuller, Leonardo Carvalho Pedro and a penalty from Elson Guiombala secured James Wakeling side another brilliant victory. Basildon United also saw Harry Baker sent off late on, and it was an entertaining 1-1 draw at Casons Lane as Saffron Walden Town drew with fellow playoff challengers Ilford. It was a largely uneventful first half, although Ilford would find themselves quite lucky not to be reduced to 10 men. The returning Tahib Elagushi beat two players and fired into the far corner to give Walden the lead just before the hour mark, but 5 minutes later a good move from Ilford was finished off by Daniel Isaacor to level, and both teams had goals disallowed in the final 10 minutes, which made it quite an interesting finale. But in the end, the points were shared, which in truth doesn't really do either team a favour as playoff challengers. That's it for the week's results then. Let's now move on to the fixtures, starting with a Friday night match at Ashton's playing fields. Woodford Town, who've obviously tailed off a little bit in their promotion challenge this season, welcome Brentford, who sit currently bottom of the league. But as we all know, anything can happen. They've picked up a few decent results already this season. As I said at the start, I will be predicting every single match this weekend in the Essex Senior League, and I do think Woodford will be a bit too strong for Brentford. I'm going to go for a 3-1 home victory. On to Saturday's matches now, and we start at Wadham Lodge with a 2 o'clock kickoff as West Essex host Little Oakley. Oakley will be willing to bounce back after their shock defeat to Sporting Bengal United last time out, whereas West Essex will be buoyed by their 3-2 away win at Saffron Walden. I think it'd be a good game for this one, but I do think Oakley will have a little bit too much for West. I think it'll probably take a second half goal to nick it and secure a big 3 points in the road, but I do think Oakley will win by a goal to nil. On to the 3 o'clocks now, and we start at Maysbrook Park as Barking host Benfleet. Benfleet have obviously not played too many matches as of late due to having a few troubles with their pitch and the recent poor weather. That I think will play into Barking's hands a little bit, but do not underestimate Benfleet as they are a very good side and could cause anyone problems on their day. I think it'd be an entertaining match. I do think there'd be goals, and I think Barking are probably the favourites, but as I say, Benfleet can surprise anyone on their day. I'm going to go 2-1 Barking. Next up then at Burrows Park, it's Great Wakering Rovers hosting Buckhurst Hill in what could be a very, very tasty encounter. Obviously two sides banging form, Wakering not too far off the top of the table at the moment, and Buckhurst Hill only a few points outside the playoff positions. I think it's going to be a draw. I do think the teams will cancel each other out. Maybe a goal apiece. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. It should be a very, very interesting encounter and probably arguably the game of the day in the Essex Senior League. Housted Town welcome Athletic Newham to Millbank Stadium. Housted just about finding a little bit of form again after their recent drop-off from the playoff positions, while Athletic Newham, because of the weekend's results and midweek results, dropped down to 18th, so they're very much looking over their shoulders at the moment. I do think the big crowd at the Millbank Stadium will push Housted on to another well-earned victory. I think it's going to be 2-0 to the hosts. Harwich and Parkeston welcome Basildon United to the Royal Oak in a battle of two mid-table sides. Basildon United will be hurting a bit from that midweek loss, while obviously Harwich and Parkeston won last time out. I think home advantage could play a factor as well, and they do tend to be very well supported at the Royal Oak. So I'm going to give Harwich and Parkeston a 2-1 victory. Well, I'm not going to personally, obviously that's going to be decided on Saturday. Next up, Holbridge Sports face Sporting Bengal United, who've obviously had two massive away wins in a row. And to be honest with you, I'd probably back them to get a third, but it won't be easy against Holbridge, who've been in pretty decent form themselves as of late. I think Bengal will be absolutely over the moon with the last two results they've had, and who's to say they can't go and do it again at Lower Road. I think Holbridge will cause them problems, but I do think they probably nick it again. I'm going to go for goals, I think. I'm going to go 3-2 to Sporting Bengal. I think they could definitely score goals, but they've also got obviously one or two defensive frailties as well. Next up then at Cricklefields, Ilford welcome White Ensign, which could be a very interesting battle. Obviously Ilford bang in form themselves, whereas White Ensign not having the best time of it, but obviously it's the Essex Senior League and literally anything can happen. If I'm going on recent form though, I would back an Ilford win. Probably a comfortable Ilford win at that as well. I'm going to go for 3-1 to the hosts. Penultimate game of Saturday then, and Saffron Walden Town host Hackney Wick at Casons Lane. Walden not having the best time of it as of late for a hopeful playoff challenger, whereas Hackney Wick have of course lost their manager recently and quite a lot of players to go with. They've been forced to field quite a young squad in the last game or two, and I think if that squad gels quickly, they could definitely cause Walden some problems. I think Walden have got enough experience in their teams to get them over the line in this one though. And they have already beaten Hackney Wick twice this season, once in the league and once in the FA Vars. I'm going to go for 2-0 Walden. Finally, in the Essex Senior League, Salt Tower Hamlets welcome Romford to the Mile End Stadium. Romford sitting down in 17th, while their hosts for the day obviously sit 3rd, and in a decent run of form despite obviously losing a few players recently. I think Salt would have too much quality for Romford on the day, though. Romford are obviously a side that are still trying to gel with each other. Sorry, Romford, but I'm going to go for a big win for the hosts. I'm going to go 4-1. Let's have a look then at the league table as it stands on Wednesday. Little Oakley, of course, still sitting top of the league but they must be very wary now of Sol Tower Hamlets with 3 games in hand and only 6 points behind them. The playoff race is still looking very interesting, but it looks like Buckhurst Hill are probably the favourites to nick 5th as it stands with the form that they've been in and their 4 games in hand over Ilford. At the bottom of the table, meanwhile, Sporting Bengal have kind of pulled away a little bit with these 2 wins that they've had in the last week. And despite obviously West Essex's big win last time out, they still sit in 19th. It will take a minor miracle for Brentford to stay up at this stage, I think. Mid-table's looking quite tight as well, from sort of Hackney Wick at 11th to Basel United in 15th. I think that could chop and change a lot between now and the end of the season as well. Okay, that brings us to the end of this roundup. Thank you so much for watching once again. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you never miss one of these uploads. Also share it around to anyone that you think might be interested. Hope you enjoy whatever football match you find yourself at this weekend, and I'll see you next week. Take care.